So Charlie Kirk died.
We are Charlie Kirk, we carry the flame, we'll fight for the gospel.
Charlie Kirk was a political commentator that was murdered at a college in Utah on September 10, 2025. A student by the name of Tyler Robinson is currently in court for the alleged crime. However, the internet has its own conspiracy theories. This is a discussion for another day though, because today we are going to be talking about how the public perception of Charlie Kirk changed overnight. To do this, I have broken down the timeline surrounding Charlie Kirk's death into 3 parts. Before Kirk, which will tackle the activist's time as a political commentator, where we'll examine the public opinion of Charlie prior to his death. After that, we will move on to the turning point section of the video, where we will take a look at how the internet reacted on the day that he was killed. Finally, we will move on to the Kirkification part of the video, which will cover the months after Charlie Kirk's death and how he became a meme, changing the online opinion on him forever. Charlie Kirk was relatively young for a right-wing political commentator at 31. Many US political figureheads, including Donald Trump himself, tipped him to be a future president of the United States of America. Kirk gained prominence on social media through clips of his debates against younger people at colleges in the UK and the US, mostly the US, on political topics like gun laws, abortions, and equality. What mattered most about his rise was that people were not seeing full debates online, but they were seeing cherry-picked clips that made it look like he was embarrassing these younger people. Many clips became viral and were quite influential as part of the MAGA movement in the build-up to the 2024 American election. President Donald Trump even said as much in his re-election speech. His content became particularly influential among younger conservative audiences online. A large portion of his viral debates featured politically engaged students going toe-to-toe with the activist, Dean Withers being the most notable.
I don't think I murdered them, right? So I would define murder as the unjustified termination of a human life.
You're making a good point. Let me further clarify that. So self-defense is very warranted.
Exactly, right?
But I can see where you're going to go with how that has to go with abortion.
In the spring of 2025, Kirk touched down on UK soil as part of his Turning Point USA tour. Clips of well-educated students from both Oxford and Cambridge racked up millions of views, with commenters ripping into him, saying that he wasn't used to debating people this educated. So the young liberals hated him, but the Gen Z right-wingers loved him. He practically became political Marmite. That was until September 2025.
Every now and then I fall apart, and I need you now tonight, and I need you more than ever, and if you only hold me tight.
As part of Kirk's American Comeback Tour, he visited Utah Valley University. Student petitions challenged his appearance, however the scheduled event went ahead anyway. In the discussion part of his talk, he was questioned about the number of mass shootings in the last 10 years in the US. As a MAGA activist, he was a huge advocate for the ownership of firearms in the country. He replied, including or not including gun violence. Before a gun went off and a bullet pierced his neck, he clutched his chest and fell to the ground. Videos quickly began to circulate on social media and millions of people saw the gruesome attack, whether they actively searched for it or whether it simply appeared on their For You page. Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead later that day, and Trump praised him as a martyr. At the time, the reaction to his death was very mixed. X feeds and TikTok For You pages were filled with people celebrating his death, but not everyone was celebrating. Others, including left-leaning Gen Z creators who had debated Kirk in the past, like Dean Withers, posted videos of their immediate response mourning him. Some people even feared the implications that it could have for the further political landscape going forward, with the right potentially framing the left as violent political extremists.
I see a handful of people saying, maybe you should take a second in the stream and whatnot. I kind of want you guys to see this. I want you to see how I feel, because
there's so many people in here right now, and I want to, if I can, set the tone for what the public's response to this is.
A Cambridge student known online as Telly posted a video of her reaction. She said in a now deleted TikTok that she believed that Charlie Kirk's death was evidence that we were moving towards fascism. Kirk was a political commentator who encouraged young people to get involved in politics. People disagree within politics all the time, but many highlighted that nobody should be killed for expressing their beliefs. In the moment, the internet was not just reacting to Charlie Kirk's death, it was beginning to shape what his death meant for politics. The discussion did not remain serious for that long. The real shift came after the initial reaction, when Charlie Kirk stopped being discussed only as a political commentator and started being seen as a comedic character.
Charlie Kirky.
So, you're Spider Boy.
It's Spider Kirk.
The Charlie Kirk Munchbox officially in London.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel.
Are you trying to run for presidency?
No. You know what I would love? I would love to be a very popular radio host, podcast host, great father, great husband, and live a very happy life where I can run a major organization that influences the country, and I could pick up the phone to the president and answers on the first ring. That would be awesome.
But I feel like you're doing that right now.
So maybe I'm living it.
'Cause I'm a punk rocker, yes I am. Well, I'm a punk rocker, yes I am.
I think I miss my wife.
When you and Dad first met, what was it like?
It was thrilling.
Kirkification was rife on social media, especially TikTok. Memes and AI deepfakes were dominating the For You page. There were even new words being coined, combining the words low-key and genuinely, and adding a bit of mix of Kirk and making low Kirk genuinely. I'm low Kirk genuinely being serious right now. At this point, the politics became almost secondary. The recognizable image of Charlie Kirk becomes a joke. It is important to recognize the distinct differences between these two versions, Charlie Kirk the man and Charlie Kirk the AI caricature. This is not the same individual that was debating college kids just a few months ago. It shouldn't go without saying that people understand this, but the realism of the videos can sometimes blur reality to the point that when consumers think of Charlie Kirk, they think of deepfakes of Spider-Man or Breaking Bad, for example. Kirk happened to die as the rise of AI edits featuring controversial figures were on the rise. He is even being placed in edits alongside individuals like Jeffrey Epstein and Diddy. This is where the situation becomes more than just a strange TikTok trend, because these edits are not just random jokes, they are part of a much wider shift in how political figures are immortalized online. Manuel Castells argues that communication power today sits within networks. In simple terms, power does not only come from governments, newspapers, or TV channels anymore. It also comes from the way people share, edit, and repeat content online. That matters here because no single person controls the Charlie Kirk meme. There is no official Kirkification headquarters where someone is planning which Breaking Bad scene he should appear in next. It is much messier than that. One person makes an edit, someone else reposts it, another person adds a song. Someone else comments on it ironically. Then the algorithm notices people are engaging with it and pushes it further. A perfect example of this type of uncontrollable, memetic mess is a video that is a few years old now, about a TikTok creator celebrating Star Wars Day with his girlfriend. The user was remixed and mocked what felt like an endless amount of times, but this was not coordinated by a single individual. Suddenly, almost overnight, the meme version of Charlie Kirk becomes more visible than the political version. This is also where DeCook's work on memes and symbolic violence becomes useful. DeCook argues that memes are not just silly internet jokes, they can help build identity, create group belonging, and simplify complicated political ideas into something easy to repeat. That is exactly what happened with Kirkification. Charlie Kirk, the political commentator, was complicated. People argued over his views on guns, abortion, gender, religion, and the MAGA movement. Charlie Kirk the meme is simpler. He is an image, a voice, a face that can be dropped into a film scene, an AI song, or to even create a fake word. The politics do not completely disappear, but they become secondary to the format. This is why it is important to separate Charlie Kirk the man from Charlie Kirk the TikTok character. One existed in real political debates, the other existed in an algorithm. Herman and Chomsky's idea of manufacturing consent can also be adapted here. Their original argument was about how traditional media like newspaper and television can manipulate what people see. On TikTok, the filter is different. It is the algorithm behind what creates the For You page. The version of Charlie Kirk that spreads is not necessarily the most accurate version. It is the version that gets watched, shared, commented on, and remixed. So if the AI character is more engaging than the man, that is the version people will keep seeing. Some scholars might describe this kind of activity as memetic warfare, where memes are used to shape public perception. But this case is slightly different. There is no obvious central strategy, no official Charlie Kirk meme unit, no strategy imposed by Donald Trump trying to make people sympathize with conservatives. Instead, TikTok users collectively produce a similar effect through repetition, editing, remixing existing media, as previously mentioned. The results look like propaganda, but it's decentralized. And that is what makes it so strange. Charlie Kirk's image was not changed by a single newspaper headline or one political speech. It was thousands of small edits made by individuals online. A song here, a deepfake there, a joke in the comments. They build a new figurehead that is Charlie Kirk. This is Kirkification, where the man becomes content. And the content makes us forget about the man that was bleeding out on our phone screens just a few months ago.